Hello, I'm Clint Kirby Zoroboris Flippin, and I'm here to channel the spirit of William S. Burroughs posthumously. Burroughs and I have an attachment that goes pretty far back. When I think of literature now, I don't know, I have this kind of garbled blackness when I think of the future. Like when I write, it's sort of hard to put things into a cohesive, like, linear storyline. And one of the books I'm sure most of you are familiar with, Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs, really hit me and helped me find a medium in which I could express my ideas without feeling too tied down to a linear plot. Really, it's kind of a long schizophrenic at times, and it's pretty hard to get through. But I chose this skit to go through, Bradley the Buyer. It's one of, I think it's online, he has quite a few readings of it. But I'll just start kind of midway into the scenario, the vignette. And it pertains to this narcotics agent who has been addicted to his job, addicted to contact with the people he's arresting. It's sort of a reimagination of addiction, and yeah. The buyer takes on an ominous gray-green color. Fact is, his body is making its own junk or equivalent. The buyer has a steady connection, a man within, you might say, or so he thinks. I'll just sit in my room, he says. Fuck 'em all, squares on both sides. I am the only complete man in the industry. But a yen comes on him like a great black wind through the bones. So the buyer hunts up a young junkie and gives him a paper to make it. Oh, all right, the boy says. So what do you want to make? I just want to rub up against you and get fixed. Well, all right. But why can't you just get physical, like a human? Later, the boy is sitting in a Waldorf with two colleagues dunking pound cake. Most distasteful thing I ever stand still for, he says. Some way he make himself all soft like a blob of jelly and surround me so nasty. Then he gets wet all over like with green slime, so I guess he come to some kind of awful climax. I come near wigging with him with that green stuff all over me, and he stink like a rotten old cantaloupe. Well, it's still an easy score, the boy sighs resignedly. Yes, I guess you can get used to anything. I've got to meet with him again tomorrow. The buyer's habit keeps getting heavier. He needs a recharge every half hour. Sometimes he cruises the precincts and bribes a turnkey to let him in with a cell of junkies. It gets to where no amount of contact will fix him. At this point, he receives a summons from the district supervisor. Bradley, your conduct has given rise to rumors, and I hope for your sake that they are no more than that. So unspeakably distasteful that, Caesar's wife, that is, the department, must be above suspicion. Certainly above such suspicions as you have seemingly aroused. You are lowering the entire tone of the industry. We are prepared to accept your immediate resignation. The buyer throws himself on the ground and crawls over to the DS. No, boss man, no! The department is my very lifeline! He kisses the DS's hand, thrusting the fingers into his mouth. The DS must feel his toothless gums, complaining he has lost his teeth in a thurbit. Please, boss man, I'll wipe your ass, I'll wash out your dirty condoms, I'll polish your shoes with the oil on my nose. Really, this is most distasteful. Have you no pride? I must tell you, I feel a distinct revulsion. There is something, rotten about you. And you smell like a compost heap. He puts a scented handkerchief in front of his face. I must ask you to leave this office at once. I'll do anything, boss, anything. His ravaged green face splits in a horrible smile. I'm still young, boss, and I'm pretty strong when I get my blood up. The DS reaches into a handkerchief and points to the door with a limp hand. The buyer stands up, looking at the DS dreamily. His body begins to dip like a dowser's wand. He flows forward. No, no, screams the DS. Schlup, schlup, schlup. An hour later, they find the buyer on the nod in the DS's chair. The DS has disappeared without a trace. The judge. Everything indicates that you have in some unspeakable manner assimilated the district supervisor. Unfortunately, there is no proof. I would recommend that you are confined or more accurately contained in some institution. But I know of no place suitable for a man of your caliber. I must reluctantly order your release. That one should stand in an aquarium, says the arresting officer. The buyer spreads terror through the industry. Junkies and agents disappear. Like a vampire bat, he gives off a narcotic effluvium, a dank green mist that anesthetizes his enemies, renders them helpless in his enveloping presence. And once he is scored, he holds up for several days like a gorged boa constrictor. Finally, he is caught in the act of digesting the narcotics commissioner and destroyed with a flamethrower. The court of inquiry ruling that such means were justified and that the buyer had lost his human citizenship and was, in consequence, a creature without species and a menace to the narcotics industry on all levels. These are some poems from an upcoming book with Nathan Springer, actually, entitled Blood Pond Hell, and they kind of have the same setup, the same like kind of vignette pattern as Naked Punch. Anyways, it concerns two time troopers who have landed in a dystopian future ruled by reality TV. We time wreck in a cardboard city. Scribble clock points at 2:22 in a room with a blue shark and a purple eyeless square guy. Aspirin. Something's in the aspirin. I think 666 milligrams Satan. Side effects, time narrative distortion. Hardcore two-step to the apocalypse. I can't be an alcoholic steady. Time gas, you know. Crypto semantics corner the corn dog market conspiracy. My wife, a record player with a drunkenly wandering stylus, scratches over lounge music. I feel fidgety. What do we used to do? Hipster ghost, co-op the small teleporting green frog. He knows about hip-hop, and he got an echo voice that bounces media secrets. Green mouse and a chinchilla come in drunk off 12 beers at once. Submachine guns spray bullets like hyphens cut through pages silent. Listen, time is cramped into 2:22, so let me remind you, the shark is an aspirin tycoon, has fields growing for Moloch's impending return. Moloch, not to be confused with Moloch, is infinitely late. Something about an archer, a bartender, a crooked peanut cop, or just some kind of meta-reality. Moloch will breakdance the cathedrals down, right down to the cult of Mithras in the basement, right down to the bare truth. The green mouse activates the corn droid, but only the tap-dancing eye can carry my gnawed umbrella to the river. No one knows why it is 2:23. No one knows if I made it to the river. That's more. This is a case study on human development by a psychopathic sociologist. It's called Ant Farm. Little ants stumble. Wasp larvae eat their brains. No amount of meth can do that to you. The larval stage of humans is disgusting. In the pupal stage, many humans smoke excessive amounts of marijuana and experiment with alcohol and other non-threatening substances. I have ingested enough 2CE in my lifetime to destroy modern civilization. I have only one wish, to see the face of death, teeth crumbling on baller paper, to feel the warmth drained from a tangerine gutted by a psycho ant. I spent all day yesterday buying ant farms from various pet stores in the Bay Area and throwing them into the Pacific Ocean. We live in a society where you can destroy entire civilizations for little to no cost. This one's called Chillwave Death Cult, and it concerns chillwavers, people who listen to chillwave music, who have used it for an apocalyptic destruction, like some kind of apocalyptic device. Kids in the street, high on chillwave and apathy, looking for churches to burn. Talk about a good fucking song. Second comes on, churches melt into goop. All the kids light PCP blunts off votive candles, growing paranoid delusions in galactic pupils. This is the church of the new paranoia, says a phosphorescent orange police officer hallucinated by one of the chillwavers. They clap in animalism. The chillwavers begin to worship their mummified Jesus. Jesus Christ the fossil desiccated himself here. His husk is preserved in irradiated slime, a prey to ghost shrieks. Sublingual ingestion of the new washed-out single. That church organ would make a good sample, one of the kids thought they heard a dead pigeon say. Well, gotta record that dark shit, sounds enlightening, one of the chillwavers says, picking pimples off his ass. The stained glass windows shimmer under heavy psychedelic doses. All hail the research chemical god. All hail the research chemical god. And can you pass me a notebook really fast? It's the one that's like by the chair. It's like, yeah. It's right here. The news anchor says the neo-humans are falling like fucking flies in a chlorine gas attack, focusing crystals infused with radioactive meth. There is a periwinkle girl picking scabs at the Groundswell Collective. The Mayan apocalypse came and went. Bukowski's boredom manifests in the street, till the last beautiful thing I saw was amputee porn, pink nubs erasing phantom limbs. Till I couldn't avoid the ultra-violent hilarity of bumper cars, till I watched gutter suicides on Primetime Live, till I giggled at Big Bela Lugosi's specters of morphine, till I res-hit heroin from a human spine, till I became a ghost haunting dive bars for homeless change, till I smiled at razor commercials, till I tried to unionize ants, till all my stories ended with vampires eating ice cream, till I watched the machinations of death culture starve, till I was a human too. The scuttled Sector 9s were revamped. Kids bombed the boulevards, not looking for lanterns. Wind passing like weed eaters, chomping on grass. Quetzalcoatl came and went, subverted entertainment, and threw research chems in for kicks. Like every good anarchist loves to bowl down mummified alleys, knocking pins into abysmal shadows. And this is my last one. I can just... This is awkward. A dream I had. Oakland is an anarchist waterspout. I'm sitting in Nathan's house listening to him play guitar and talk about Pavement's musical genius. The wind is pushing wildly into his house, a stucco 1950s suburban home. I feel the house shake and some books fall to the floor. Next thing I know, Nathan's kissing me on his cubist porch while his roommate microwaves Roscoe's chicken and waffles. Nathan doesn't like microwaves because they remind him of Chernobyl. We look at the Pacific, cold blue fish tank. There are 4 gigantic waterspouts heading straight for the coast. Surfers get out of the water quickly. I hear air raid sirens. Is this normal? Aren't there octopi, hammerhead sharks, in the waterspout? I say, yeah, this time of the year is utter chaos. If it's not the tourists, it's raining black metal. Then there are other waterspouts to deal with, he says. We sit in a schizoid silence. It's like every moment exists in a fractured photo montage. I'm not sure how, but I'm driving an old American tank through the gates of a theme park. Nathan's riding on the top. The toll booth is crushed beneath the treads. We are driving bumper cars now in a large glass dome. I tell him, that's what anarchists do. The waterspouts hit the coast, passing us by only a few hundred feet. Red and black flags and pamphlets fall from the waterspouts. Get off your ass and start a revolution, they say. People are reading them in dingy surf punk bars, weed dispensaries, and DMVs. Nathan says, we need Canadian Miss Whiskey if we're going to have a proper revolution. We're too drunk to hit anything with the Molotovs, so we start sipping on them. Burns like an arson, like the mulch fire burns slow and achy on our Pall Mall lungs. The Oakland PD are hairy were police. They have large, jagged canine teeth and flamethrowers. Nathan and I split. Oakland's freeze ray volunteers can't stop the waterspouts from ramming skyscrapers and multinational corporations in the sky. Now the streets are a network of slip and slides. Everyone is too busy fighting to notice. Molotovs, torches, flamethrowers, they're all useless now. And the rich, the poor, the women, the men, the mutants of Earth all drenched. So we take the slip and slides down the Pacific and form holes and pores in the Pacific's frozen skin. Chillwave music starts playing. Only a few revolutionaries are splashing the were police, who shake it off like wet dogs. In the city, the waterspouts are soaking the cookbooks, the dogmas. They floored the whole financial district. Now we can be fluid. Now we can be colliding tilt-a-whirls of hammerhead, octopi filled waterspouts. That's it.